Okay, so your album is all finished. You've got the music all mastered, and now it's time to put a face to it. Your album cover is the first impression your fans get before they even listen to it. So how do we get this right and set ourselves up for success? What are other more famous artists doing right now? And how do I model my album art after them so I fit in but also stand out in a positive way? Well, if you've asked yourself questions like these, then stick around, because in this video we're gonna dive into current album art trends in pop music so your cover makes the best first impression it can and brings fans old and new into your music. Let's blast off and get started. And I can't stop with these boys from California. Konnichiwa, cyborgs. I'm Jonathan Miller, and welcome back to Jonathan Miller Music, helping you become a better indie artist. I make futuristic and outer space inspired dance pop music, and every Wednesday on this channel, I'm helping others take their music to level 2. If that sounds good, consider subscribing. If not, then that's too bad, because as somebody who has plenty of bad album art, I don't really want that happening to you. But people who don't subscribe have bad album artwork. What? Think about that. Okay, so diving right in, I want you to remember first a few key pieces of advice. First of all, I highly recommend spending the extra cash to get a photographer and dedicated graphic designer. They're gonna set you up for success, and they know what they're doing. Also, don't shortchange them trying to save a few bucks. They work hard in their fields just like you, so pay them what they're worth. Next up, have a meeting with your photographer and graphic designer ahead of your photo shoot to make sure everyone understands your vision, but also listen with an open ear, because they might have some ideas that enhance what you're wanting. Also, and this is kind of obvious, but trends come and go. Always do what's right for you and trust your gut. Now let's take a look at some current album and single artwork from the past few months. Ariana Grande, Thank You Next. Tiffany Young, Born Again. BB Rexa, Last Hurrah. Ashley Tisdale, Voices in My Head. And Key, Face. What do all of these pictures have in common? Well, first and foremost, they all kind of have a large frame that the main picture sits inside. The text sits inside the frame part in a font that is typically easy to read. Looking at you, Tiffany Young. You're lucky I like you. The color theme is also very easy to discern as well. So with these common features, how are these artists making these covers their own? Well, now here's where we get into personal stylistic choices. For example, Tiffany Young and Ashley Tisdale's album artworks for Born Again and Voices in My Head feature a white color scheme. White typically represents renewal and rebirth. It represents purity and health, which happen to be lyrical themes in those respective songs, as well as Tiffany Young making her official solo US debut, and Ashley Tisdale coming back after a million years. And we patiently waited. Ariana's cover art for Thank You Next consists of darker colors. Even the border is a desaturated and heavily grayed pink. This album is a bit darker than her previous one in terms of overall tone, so this is a good reflection of that. Speaking of which, another current common trend in album artwork is the color pink in general. I mean, look at the cover art for my EP Utopia that I just released. At the time of this recording, the color pink shows up on 10 entries of the iTunes Top 30. Pink represents flowers, romance, love of oneself and of others, inner peace and harmony. Many people, including myself, struggle with mental illness and depression. Fans of my music know that the last few years of my life have been hell, so pink is bright and it represents my personal journey to getting healthy. Luckily, we're not alone. Ashley Tisdale recently spoke up about her battle with anxiety, so it's not surprising that pink is a common theme for her as well right now. Sure, some people might be using it just as a color scheme, and that's okay. Basically, when it comes to album artwork, you can try to do these similar aesthetics as artists so you fit in, but ultimately always stay true to yourself. Pick a color scheme that represents your truth and what your album or song is all about. I chose pink because it was bright and it represented my state of mind. It also tied in with the cherry blossom, which was a really important figure for me, so you can check out my documentary Creating Utopia if you want to learn more about that. But anyway, if you like the picture frame aesthetic, try it out. Album artwork is a representation of you and your music alone. You can even be a little abstract like Key's Face album. I mean, what's going on here? Brainstorm with your photographer and graphic designer and maybe even a few friends, and watch what others in your genre are doing as well. Then, when your fans get to see it for the first time and love it, you'll know right where you belong. So that is my video on current album artwork trends. Question of the video, What is your current favorite album artwork and why? Leave me a comment below letting me know. If you want to check out my new EP, Utopia, it's available now, links in the description below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new. I put out new videos every single Wednesday. Once again, I'm Jonathan Miller, and I will see you next time. Mata ne!
JM in your universe. I'm not angry, I'm just better. I'm just bitter, baby. I'm just bitter, baby. If I do the dishes, then you gotta make dinner, but you won't, nope. So I'm just bitter. I said I'm not angry, I'm just bitter.